See, the Egyptians, they worshiped the eye. Why did they worship the eye? Well, wake the hell up and look at the world. That's your salvation to do that. Pay bloody attention, especially to the things you don't want to pay attention to. And use your vision. Have some vision. And you can use your vision to see into the future. And that's your redemption. And the Egyptians, they didn't know how to say that, but they knew how to represent it. And that's how they represented it. Like, the pupil on that is completely open, completely dilated. And that's a god as far as the Egyptians were concerned. It's a discovery, man. It's the discovery of the future. It's like the future is actually the place where there is threat. And it's always going to be there. So what do? You make sacrifices in the present so that the future is better. Right. Everyone does that. That's what you're doing right now. That's what you're doing here. That's what your parents are doing when they pay money to send you to university. They think, you can bargain with reality. It's amazing. You can bargain with reality. You can forestall gratification now. And it'll pay off at a place and time that doesn't even exist yet. It's like, who would have believed that? It's like, that's a miracle that occurs. And it's not like people just figured that out overnight. How are we going to come up with an idea like that? Well, we thought about it for 7 million years. And, we got to the point where we could kind of act it out. But we didn't know what we were doing. But it emerged as like a dream. So the terror of the future is a dream. And the solution to the dream of the terror of the future is another dream. And it comes out in mythology and in fantasy and in drama, where you act out the sacrifice. And then it's a step on the way to full understanding. So we can say sacrifice now instead of doing it, although we still do it. It's just not concretized like it used to be. We do it abstractly, and we all have faith that it will work, and we also set up our societies so that it'll work. And there's minimal ways that you can set up a society that will work. And so one of them is that the society has to be set up so that your sacrifices will pay off, or you won't work, and then the society will die. And so it has to make promises. People have to make promises to one another. And that's what money is. Money is a promise that your sacrifice will pay off in the future. That's what money is. And so if the society is stable, you can store up your work. You can sacrifice your impulses, and you can work, and you can store up credit for the future. And then you can make the future a better place. But society has to be stable enough to allow for that. Hyperinflation will do you in. So the promise that's implicit in the currency is the promise that what you're doing now will pay off in the future. And if people don't have that promise, then, well, we know what they do. Because in gangs, for example, say gangs in North America, the time horizon of the gang members shrinks rapidly because they don't really expect to be alive much past 21. And so they get really impulsive and violent, and like, why the hell not? That's what you do when the future doesn't matter, when it's not real. You default back to living in the moment, and you take what you can get right now. And no wonder, because you don't know if you're going to be around in a year. And you get whatever you can while you can bloody well get it. And that's like anarchy, that state. And so you don't want to live in, some people like to live in that state because they're really wired for that, And so they're much more comfortable in those conditions. They're kind of like warrior types, I would say, in some sense. But, for most people, that's just, well, that stress will just do you in, the stress of a life like that. So